Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 45 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, and in today's episode, it is time for me to seize Yeed. So this is the Yeed Shrine. It looks sparse. The remnants of the Leonster Empire have hidden within the depths of the shrine for generations. They had no choice. Trying to build new lives on the surface would have led to their mass persecution, or even being burned at the stake. I don't think I would call this persecution, though, because they're okay. So the problem is the reason why I couldn't possibly agree with Lewin here, and I find this to be a little bit ignorant. I think this is the only part of the genealogy story that I find grossly sickening, is that Lewin, by Kaga's design, is trying to paint the Leonster Empire as this, like, morally gray group of people. No. The entire chronology of Jugdral very well dictates that they are nothing but murderous fiends whose cult is entirely bent towards the wanting to hunt children and sacrifice them to this dark god of Leonster. And not only that, but everything in both the Jugdral entries very clearly points to this. It is why I actually do like Salem to some degree, because Salem is like a foil of that. He's basically like, I was a part of that, I realize it's no good, and I'm leaving that. But that's the issue, is that everybody has that option. You're not about to tell me that half of the cult or a third of the cult or even most of the cult is just like, oh, we don't actually care for Veld's ambitions or Manfroy's ambitions or any of these evil folks' ambitions. We just want to live natural, normal lives. Nonsense. You would leave the cult. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. It's like the cults that are arising today with these, like, terrorist activist groups and like political agenda based groups that are obvious terrorist, obvious evil. They want nothing but, like, the destruction of mankind through things like abortion and drug addiction being normalized and accepted, even if drugs kill you, so on and so forth. And all of this stuff, like, just totally normalized. They want people to have no freedoms and no rights. Obviously, these are terroristic cults. And persecution of them isn't persecution. It's fighting evil. That's not persecution. Fighting evil is fighting evil for a reason. If evil is evil, if people are evil, they need to be fought. They need to be destroyed. They need to be removed from positions of power. They need to be removed from society. And there's so many people who say, well, oh, that's not really Christian of you. Actually, it is, both Old and New Testament. It's very Christian of me. We are supposed to be fighting evil. We are supposed to be keeping that from becoming the norm and taking over. So this whole, like, Lotrians are persecuted thing is just kind of laughably gross. Or even being burned at the stake. Ooh, like they wouldn't do worse. I suspect that at first they weren't really bad or unusual people, but before long their life here twisted them. No. They've been hiding in Yeed after the Leonster Empire fell. The Leonster Empire fell because the Crusaders, this is Jugdral's own chronology, the Crusaders came in and defeated them because of their evil child hunts and their mass sacrifices and whatnot. Stupid. I can hardly believe it. It's as if they were all being tortured for the sins of their long-dead imperial ancestor. Nonsense. All my life, these people have been branded as the Dark Cult, because that's what they are, or the Devil's Kin, because that's what they are. Just like Satan's folk today, that's what they are. I can barely imagine their pain. No, because they don't have pain, they enjoy it. Just like Satan's cult and the Devil's cult and everybody else who's evil. Hold on a moment, this scribble on the wall, is that a child's penmanship? It's a prayer, and it begs for the return of the Dark God. Oh, really? Wow. Was Leonster the only hope these people had? Yeah, consider this a lesson, Sela. Good and evil can't be easily reduced to such simple black and white ideals. Yeah. You can tell this wasn't written by a Christian man. This was written by like a spiritual angelic from, like, Japan. It's so obvious. Even if I never knew this was written by a Japanese man, I would immediately pick up on it, because the idea that good and evil isn't just black and white is ignorant. There's obvious wrong and right. It is always wrong to murder. There is a difference between killing and self-defense. People don't understand that, but there's always a wrong to murder. If I just want to kill somebody to remove his life, to snuff his life out, there's always a wrong in that. There's always a wrong to stealing. It doesn't even matter if the reason why I'm stealing is because my family's going hungry. It's still wrong to steal, buddy. It's still wrong to steal. If you must hate, hate the evil which lurks in us all, not the individual. Never forget this. This is also spiritual mumbo-jumbo. God doesn't separate the evil from the people. People separate the evil from the people by accepting the Lord Jesus Christ. That is the only way that you get rid of the evil, friend. All right, time to end the phase. Actually, looking like a reset here. I know this is going to sound silly, but I should have moved Patty and Shannon. All right, this is much better. Look, I'm not trying to give you a lecture or of religious spiel, because I know a lot of people who play Fire Emblem don't give one iota about who Jesus Christ is or who God is, but there is obvious fallacies in this story. And it's why I have since thought that Thracia is the better story. In fact, I don't even think Genealogy is top 3 anymore when it comes to story. I still think it's number 2 when it comes to gameplay, but story, nah. Yead's fallen, has it? Perfect. Open our borders. We'll let them proceed through toward Fort Melgen. Let them wear themselves out some more. Then we'll strike with their wide open backs. It's almost too easy to be any fun. Wouldn't you say, Jabaro? Just another hard day's of work for you, sir. But hey, so long as you're paying the bills, my men have got nothing to complain about. About time we had a good fight anyhow. Alright, so now that place, Darna, is blocked off. Melgen is the next target. The rebels have already taken to Yead. Lisa, what do you make of the situation?
I suspect their most likely aim is to come to the aid of the Leonster rebels. As it stands, Ishtore, your father is still preoccupied besieging them at Leonster. Should they reach Ulster and strike while he's occupied, the results would be disastrous. It is imperative that we intercept them here and now. Our force will be more than enough.
Indeed, my lord father could use the aid. Lisa, may I place you in command of our army?
Certainly. Leave everything to me, my lord.
I confess I'd rather keep you away from the eye of the storm, but there's nobody whom I could ever trust more than you. My apologies, Lisa.
Aye, rest assured, my lord. You've nothing to worry about. Just please, Ishtore, be careful. Now excuse me. Men, move out. Assume your positions.
Now this is a fight. Kind of a brutal one, too. And it has to do with the fact that you have to deal with 2 ballista and a bolting from Ishtore sitting on the castle, while you deal with Lisa and her entire swarming crew. Why are you attacking Finn instead of Leaf? Very strange. Sometimes the AI in this particular game just does some absurd, and I mean absurd, things. Alright, he's going to continue burning down the village. And Seliph doesn't really need to repair the Brave Sword as of yet. In fact, okay, he does have gold. He does. So that's good. These 2 can continue pairing. It would probably be a good idea to give Patty's gold to Seliph. I actually think Patty's gold would definitely be better for Leaf. Equip. Brave Lance. These 2 can stay together one more turn. And as I said before, you do have to be very careful about your positioning here, because you could doom your own units by moving them in positions that aren't necessarily good, since they will be attacked by multiple units, including Ballista and boltings. So I will be positioning momentarily for the fight to come. Leaf and such. So, Nana has a couple of units that she can heal to gain some more experience points herself, which is pretty good. Nana actually struggles in her start here to get through the arena, so as much healing experience points as possible to give her as many levels as possible is pretty good. I don't think she's going to get through the arena regardless. Now, Leaf has a pretty reasonable chance, so does Finn. I always struggle with what I want to do here. Whether or not I want to leave them here and just harry the enemies over here. Sometimes I like doing that. So there's going to be a lot of enemies that come out of Ulster's group here. And sometimes I like leaving Leaf and crew here to distract the enemies, if you will. Oh, lean, was it? That was quite the dance there. Come hither. I have a little reward for you.
Ew, how rude. You get off your butt and come over here if you've got something to give me.
As cute as that fiery heart is, mouthing off to me so violently, I can't say I care so much for that. Bring her to me.
What do you think you're doing? Let go, let me go, you animals.
Hold. Take your hands off the girl, craven scum. What? And who exactly are you? How dare you, a common sellsword, turn your blade on your employer? Nobody shall lay a hand on her, lest you face severe consequences. Are we clear? Gah, what is this sorry little pantomony? Seize him. End his little life. You all see my sword, correct? I trust I need not introduce the demon blade. Beware, for Mistleton craves the blood of men. Who dares to come forth and slate its thirst? Mistleton? That's the one and only demon blade? Then you... It can't be. Oh, but it can. It is I, Eris. Oh, but it can. It is indeed I, Ares, the Black Knight. My deepest apologies, sir. I was merely jesting about... Look, I'll never lay hands on the little darling ever again. You forgive me, right? Very well. Lean, are you unharmed?
Yeah, thank you, Ares.
God damn them both. I'll make them suffer. You'll see. Now, there's probably people who would say that Bramsel is morally gray. The absolute ignorance of people anymore, especially in modern society. It's one of the many reasons why I intend on finding myself in a nice, cozy home somewhere off grid and far away. I really can't deal with the psychosis of people anymore. All right, so continuing to move these yahoos. Leaf and Finn. I think Leaf needs to be healed. And I will wait right here. Leaf, Finn, and Nana can just stick around the castle over here. And the rest of my units can get ready for the very large battle to undertake here. So the thing about this fight is that these units don't move within your range until you get within the range of... Or at least I don't think they do. I might be wrong about that. And this is the way that you can have pairing while also moving said units in such a way to have them basically form a wall. And of course, Fee needs to continue flying towards the village, and that would be all of my units. It's always good to check what units haven't moved. I've mistaken this before a couple of times, even in this playthrough, and have had to reset turns just because I've missed on moving certain units. It's a little bit harder when there are a lot of units that you don't want to move. Like, for instance, when I had everybody waiting for the Yeed Shrine to be seized. Alright, these two first need to move because they need to get out of the way of Selith. Fee can continue to move forward. Leaf, Finn, and Nana also can continue to move forward. I really don't think you can do anything at this castle arena-wise. I'm going to check it out. Yeah, you can only blacksmith here, which is good because then you could repair your weapons if need be. But also it's just not... It's not really that useful, grand scheme of things, because you do need to fight the arena as well. And then I'm not too sure exactly where I need to go, but I assume it's okay to just keep moving southward. And as all of my units are made to be in position, I'm going to get ready for the upcoming battle. It's going to be quite the fierce one. I think, yeah, so it would be very nice if I put the Forsetti wielding Arthur in all of his glory in front of the class, as he needs to be a primary fighter here. And Melgen isn't really doing anything. It's just Ulster's phase, and Ulster's phase only has this unit here. So if I did not say it before, I'm almost certain that I did, but the shield ring is what you get from this village that I'm going to be reaching with Fee. And I plan on keeping that on her, actually, because it helps her survivability a lot. See, the units that don't have holy weapons kind of need stuff like the shield rings and like bargain band and paragon band and things like that, as well as the pursuit ring and so on and so forth, a whole lot more than your units that have access to holy weapons. And it's one of the cool things about this game is that you can kind of pick and choose what units are getting what, like, advantage, I guess you could say. I think I want to put somebody within this range here. Maybe Oifi? And then the rest of the units can just move up a space. I do have to be ready because this is going to be kind of a little bit difficult. And yeah, those three can just stay there. That'll be the end of my turn yet again. It's a little bit turtley, I understand this, but it makes sense for the sake of dealing with this army. You want to move the enemies away from the ballista. Since I'm in the range of the ballista, now they're going to move. And that's perfect because in order to get in the range of the units, the actual armor knights and such, for them to attack you directly, you have to be in the range of pretty much every ballista and the bolting. And you don't want that to happen because we're talking these are some mighty powerful units here. And I plan on taking pretty much all of them on with Arthur. Selith, Shannon, and Patty can keep on rocking on. And of course, Fee, with the Brave Lance, should be able to finish off this ruffian. In fact, she is two-shotting, which is perfect because she's using her Brave Lance. And then I'm going to go ahead and visit the village.
Darna is lorded over by Count Bramsel, who's as revolting as they come. If he isn't playing the slimy sycophant to some visiting Granvale noble or other, he's prancing around like he's got the god's gift to the kings. The sooner somebody sticks a sword through that pig of a man, the better.
Thank you. Somebody who shares my sentiments about evil men. It ain't that simple, though. Standing between you lot and Bramsel is the best mercenary force his money can buy.
One of them, Ares, is the strongest of them all. He's still just a kid, really, but he's frightfully strong, because he's got that magic blade called Mistletoe. From what I heard, the mercenary Captain Jabaro found Ares as a wee little kid and took him in. The two are real close, I hear. You ain't got much of a choice against them, Ares. Sorry to rain on your parade like that, kid. Here, take this shield ring as an apology. You ought to be able to get some use out of this. And of course, she gets a little bit of gold. She actually doesn't need any gold whatsoever. In fact, I'm not going to be stealing any more gold with her because she will overflow. At this point, I believe she's going to be at about 48,000 funds come the start of the next chapter, which means she's going to be able to use the Paragon Band, which is going to be nice for her, especially. But the Shield Ring, plus 5 defense, so now she has 12 defense. This is going to be much more useful for her. She uses it pretty darn well, I would say. Now it is time for the rest of my units to move. You do still have to be a bit careful here, because the thing is too many of these units fighting your Arthur at the same time is pretty detrimental. Also, you don't want him to be attacked by these Melgen ballista. And as you can see here, Ishtore, he is a wielder of bolting, and he's a pretty darn good wielder of bolting. He's a war mage. He comes with Thoron as a droppable tome, and unfortunately, nobody in your team can use this until certain units promote. So it's kind of a little bit of a wasted item. Typically what I do is I just KO him with Arthur and call it a day. I don't know how good Arthur's going to do here, just fighting these guys by himself. So he will have weapon triangle advantage versus Lisa. I think if he stays right where he's at, he'll be fine, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move everybody back just a few spaces and prepare for the counterattack of next turn. Julia should be able to stay right here, actually. I almost want her to go ahead and fight a few units herself, so I think I'm going to do that. I just don't want her to fight these units. So I think she can go right here. And then the rest of my units are just going to move back just a little bit. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and end my turn. Melgen's phase is going to come up. So Julia is actually capable of dealing with this whole horde with the Nosferatu just as good as Arthur is, and it's because of the obvious reason that she has very good resistance, so she doesn't care about the boltings and stuff like that. She does care about the ballistas, but as long as she's using Nosferatu and tanking the hits, she's going to be perfectly fine. And you'll see me use this kind of strategy with her on some occasions. It's funny because there are 2 physic-wielding units, which is very unfortunate. But typically, as long as you damage one unit enough for both of them to be able to heal that unit, they stupidly do that. Very stupidly do that. Julia actually has a pretty good chance to just KO some of these units too, because all she has to do is proc Adept. And I think she has a cost as well. I always forget this, whether she has a cost or not. She is the daughter of Arvis, and I'm pretty sure he has a cost. Another thing is that this is actually kind of a perfect position for Arthur because he's not sitting on the road. Julia, however, doesn't care about that. Arthur does. He needs as much avoid as he possibly can get. And this should be a clean KO. Very nice, very nice. So, in realms of understanding concerning magic, I actually think the Nosferatu is a very good tome to give crit to. And it's actually not hard to do.
This particular part of this chapter is kind of one of those situations where it's very easy to give Julia a bunch of KOs, as well as a bunch of experience points for that particular reason. In fact, she levels up here and gets HP, strength, magic, speed. The strength is kind of totally pointless, but thankfully she got some speed and magic. That's pretty nice. And Arthur should KO most units because he has a reasonable chance to proc Adept. I don't think he's going to get hit. There's only 2 more units that can fight him right now. Ooh, Lisa goes after Julia. Or is that Lisa? No, that's not Lisa. That's a Melgen. Lisa would talk. That's just a Melgen mage. And another KO for Julia.
So you're the rebel army. This is where your insurrection ends. So long as I, General Lisa, draw breath, you shall never reach Fort Melgen.
Well, Lisa, I don't think you're much of a match for Arthur. I say this and she hit him, but also immediately died.
Ah, Ishtore.
Poor little Lisa. Poor little Lisa. Give me the experience points I need. Thank you. And of course, I get a little bit of healing. Seliph can keep on moving. Fee also needs to join some units down here. And Shannon and Patty need to move as well. I would say that's pretty much everybody I need to be moving that cursor for. Cool thing is because this group of absolute morons decided to go to the left amongst this cliff. I'm not sure why they do this. I'm really just not sure why they do this, but they do it every single time. Because of this, I don't have to deal with them immediately, which is pretty cool. Again, I do have to be careful. The ballista doesn't matter so much, but the bolting matters a lot. So I'm going to stay out of the bolting's range, which means I'm pretty good with most of my units being within all of the range here except for here. I'm going to probably let them all sit over here. Maybe Arthur won't be moved. And then Brave Bow time. You were healed in vain, buddy. And then, of course, I'm going to move right back next to Julia. And she can finish off this mage. I find this part of the chapter to be quite fun because you get to, as long as you're positioned well, you get to really take advantage of the fact that your units are pretty darn strong at this point. So, Ulster needs a proc here, I think. Yeah, he got it anyway. But he needed a proc to get a KO. Astra, such a good skill in this game. And then, the light brand. Perfect. Ah, yes, strength, magic, and speed. That is amazing. Thank you very much for that. I don't think the ballista are a possible threat. Yeah, only 66 hit. They're not hitting him. But they will hit Lana, so I think it's just for the best I heal up here. Recover staff, and then I'm going to move Arthur up.
I actually think it would be kind of a good idea if I were to move Arthur in such a way that the mages will attack him. So that's what I'm going to do here. Johann can actually go ahead and fight him, I think. Yeah, he's not going to KO. Maybe with help from Oifi? So I'm going to do 22 times 2 here as long as I don't crit. The problem with Oifi is he likes doing that quite a lot because the critical skill is kind of really strong in this game. I actually like the skills in this game. So a lot of people don't think that critical and pursuit are good implementations of the doubling and the critical mechanic in Fire Emblem, but if you really think about it, they're actually more busted forms of these abilities normally in games. So normally you have to have 4 speed or more attack speed, I should say, to double an opponent. In this game, you only need 1. It's why I said if they were to rebalance this game, what I would suggest is that Pursuit makes it so that you still only need 1 more attack speed to double. But without it, you need, let's say, 8 attack speed more. And why the big disparaging difference is simply due to the fact that it makes sense because it gives more value to Pursuit. And the thing is most of your units will get to that kind of attack speed buff anyway where they're 8 or more above most units. So granted, at some point it's not going to matter, which means that Pursuit would be worth less regardless. So give it more worth for a longer period of time, since it is an inbuilt skill in the game. Basically wasting a slot if they were to give double attacking to pretty much everybody. So I really do think that that's the way to balance that. Now, when it comes to critical, there's no way to balance this. You're not giving critical to every unit in this game. You need to keep critical on only the units that have critical, because that removes a lot of the RNG from the factor of enemy units, especially with how long these maps are, and especially with the fact that if you're playing a ranked run, if you die at any part in the stage, you have to redo the entire chapter, which I've already had to do a couple of times because of deaths in my game. Because though I don't necessarily care about a ranked run, I would like it if I could get it. It would be nice. It's like an extra little benefit. And then I'm going to KO you with Johann. Sit here. Ira can sit here. And of course, my Forsetti wielding Arthur can sit here and take out the 2 mages before he moves on to the true threat of Melgen. Of course, this next turn I'm going to go ahead and be able to kill both of the healers as well as both of the ballista. That's at least the plan. Come on, Arthur. You left him at 1 HP. He's just going to get healed up. And that's exactly what's going to happen right here. Very unfortunate, but that's the problem with relying on procs like Adept and such to win the day. Though, there's really a good argument for not having the renewal band on Arthur. The only reason why I have it on him, by the way, is because it's easily obtained on Medir. Or not Medir. It's easily obtained on Lewin. And then I give it to him basically as a sellable. That's all he has it for. He does not have it for his healer capabilities because it's not going to stay on him. He cannot effectively use Wrath if he is healed above half his health. But that being said, I think it is about that time of day for me to call it quits here. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform of choice. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.